Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 123 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. Coming up on this week's show, we're going to have a little chat about James McClean, if we have to.
We have been asked to talk about
James McClean. We're going to have a look at our win against Mansfield. We're going to look ahead to two games this week. We've got Port Vale and we've also got Stockport as well. And obviously you can have a go at the quiz, as you normally do.
I hope it's like it was last week.
It's a bit more, I'd say it's a little bit more multiple choice.
Okay.
So I've tried to keep your run going for you.
Okay.
So that because you did really well last week. And I didn't want to just slam you back into the ground after such a good week. So I thought, bit of multiple choice. Look, it might go the wrong way.
I might just
you might pick the wrong one, but I've just made it a bit easier for you. So,
all right.
I think we need a back update, don't we? Look, obviously last week I had to have a few breaks because I've got a back problem. I am going to attempt this week to record in one fluid show, so there's no breaks. A lot of people have asked, is it getting better? Day by day, I don't notice at all, but because the improvement is so small that you can't really tell. But I know it's better today than it was a week ago, and that's the best way that I can sort of look at it. Really, it's still not great. I still can't pick things up. I still can't bend over. I still have to sit down and lie down a lot. But I think the
idea of having that.
I think it's just the amount of time that I can sort of stand is a little bit better than it was.
Why you didn't come to the game yesterday?
On
Saturday.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to miss the Mansfield game because of it. So I had to send Siân on her own, which you didn't really enjoy, did you? But there we go. So
what?
What?
I didn't enjoy it.
Going without me?
Oh yeah, I don't like going without you, but I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the game.
No. But you didn't enjoy me not being there. No,
it's twice now. Two home games we've been to, and you've not been there, and it's not been.
I know.
It's been
so
a bit poo.
I think it sort of affects everything, doesn't it? Because I can't walk to the gate. It's not as if you can park right outside the stadium. So I can't walk the distance needed to get to the game. I couldn't sit outdoors for half an hour, never mind 90 minutes. I just couldn't do it, without being in really bad pain. So I had to take the decision not to go. So
hopefully next home game you'll be there.
Yes, because we've got a bit now. We've got a while to wait for the next home game.
26th of November, I think the next home game is.
So fingers crossed I'll be back. We're not going to the Stockport game, which we weren't good. They give us such a small allocation, and it was a bit difficult for us because we have to try and plan. We're not rich, so you have to try and plan what games you're going to go to. And we decided we wanted to go to Charlton and we wanted to go to Rotherham, so there has to be a little bit of flex in there with Christmas coming and all that sort of stuff, So we decided not to go to the Stockport game anyway. As it turned out, with the way that I am at the moment, that was probably a good thing.
Yeah.
We had loads of people got in touch to say, hope you get better soon. So thank you very much for that. Joe Swift got in touch.
Birmingham fan,
and he suggested a bell. That maybe I should get a bell off Amazon, ring it every time I need something, just so you're more than aware. We don't live in a mansion though, Joe, so Siân is quite close to me. She's definitely within shouting distance at all times.
And if you did buy a bell, then that bell would be going somewhere I would not care to mention on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think you can probably guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Lee Bradley also said that he thinks maybe age is catching up with me.
100%.
That I can't...
At least I've got an excuse why I'm like I am.
Yeah, well, I've got an excuse, haven't I?
No.
No?
No, you're just old.
I'm just old.
I was born this way.
Okay.
bad hip.
Sure, there's a Lady Gaga song in there somewhere.
I'm sure there is.
Look, we weren't going to talk about James McClean this week because I feel like it's had so much coverage.
And it's not really news, is it?
I don't think it's news, but a few people asked us to. Pavlos Tortoise got in touch and he said, please cover James McClean on the pod this week. He divides opinion, but if liberty means anything, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Look, we're going to touch on it. I'm not going to touch too much on why he does what he does or what his beliefs are, what led him to have all them beliefs. They're very well documented, and I don't want this to be the place where we talk about that. If you want to know why James McClean refuses to wear a poppy, all that sort of stuff, Google it.
It's on his Instagram. He actually did a post on his Instagram after the game because obviously lots of media outlets thought it was a massive deal that he didn't stand by the rest of his teammates. He didn't wear a poppy. But, you know, it's like yawn because it's like been going on. This has been his beliefs for years and years and years and years.
This is what I wanted to talk, as opposed to why it happened. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the media,
how the media treat him,
the media coverage of it. Look, he hasn't worn a poppy for the last, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it might be. He's chosen not to do that. And for me, I always find it very lazy journalism to go to wheel out the James McClean not wearing a poppy cart once a year, every year. It's like a banker story that they know. All the news outlets, Sky have done it, the newspapers have done it, I've seen it everywhere, that they know, don't worry about the weekend of football because we've already got a story ready year after year after year. And like Siân sort of said, it's boring now.
It is boring.
And the thing that sort of got me about it was the fact that he chose to stand on his own, right? And he wasn't shouting during the minute silence. He observed the minute silence the same way as everybody else, but he chose to
stand on his own.
To stand on his own, which, you know, that I don't know why he chose to do that. That's up to him. What he wants to do.
Because he is a human being and he's allowed to do what he wants to do.
You know, because I did see a few posts going, look, why did he choose not to link? All the team were linking arms. He chose not to link arms with the rest of the team. They'd cropped the photo, but the photo in its entirety showed Arthur not linking arms on the other side as well.
Mansfield team weren't linking arms.
No, The thing is, I saw posts saying this is he's an attention seeker and all this sort of stuff. The thing that draws attention to it is the thousands of people posting on X and Facebook about it. That's what draws attention to it. If you truly believe he's an attention seeker, right, the best thing that you can do is just
Don't give it attention.
Don't give it attention.
Yeah.
And then it's just not a thing. So, you know, look, he has his beliefs. People have their beliefs. People will decide that they want to comment about what they want to comment. Look, I'm a big advocate of free speech.
Excuse me.
I'm a big advocate of free speech. Say what you want to say. But I think this is such an old, boring story now. And look, a lot of people will say, oh, but you're a Wrexham fan and, you know, he's a Wrexham player, so people are always going to stand up. I didn't care about this story when he was a Stoke player. I didn't care about this story when he was a West Brom player. I didn't care about the story when he's a Wigan player, and I don't care about the story now he's a Wrexham
people
player.
need to move on, and you know.
Yeah, and for me, I think sometimes I've become, I'm not going to get too deep, but I've become very disillusioned with mainstream media, especially in the UK. They've obviously got their own agenda and they report things in a certain way. Like I say, I'm not going to get too deep into that. But me personally, I don't read mainstream media anymore. I would rather read, other stuff than mainstream media, because I think it's a bit of a farce, to be perfectly honest. But look. Can
I just say something?
Of course you can.
Tom O'Connor wasn't wearing a poppy.
What's the name?
No, where was all that in the media?
I didn't know that.
Apparently he wasn't. I can't remember not seeing him wearing one, but apparently a lot of people have said he wasn't wearing a poppy on Saturday at the game.
Yeah, but
where's all the hype about that?
It doesn't fit the agenda, though, does it?
No,
because
James
McClean, it's an easy story.
He's an easy target.
It's an easy story for the media, and like I said, I'm bored with it now. So we're going to move on.
James McClean. You do you.
It just, but people do what they want to do.
You do what you want to do.
You know, and people will have their own opinions, and it is what it is. I don't really want to give it loads of time talking about it.
I think we've said what we want. You know, we've said it before. It's not that we agree with what he's saying or disagree with what he's saying. What we believe is people are entitled to their opinions. They're entitled to their views. So just let it go.
Let it go. Look, I'm all for, if you've got an opinion and I've got a different opinion, then I'm all for telling you why I think your opinion's wrong, or telling you what my opinion is, and debating.
Oh, I know.
And debating what it, but to post stuff on social media isn't opening up a debate. I'm all for free speech, and but I'm more for free speech that opens up some sort of back and forth and a debate, rather than being completely closed off and uninterested in what other people have got to say.
They're just jumping on the bandwagon. Anyway, like I said, James McClean, you do you.
Yeah. Anyway.
So if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by visiting our Buy Me a Coffee page. The website link is buymeacoffee.com/Me the Wife of Wrexham. I'll read that again, because I made a balls of that.
Yeah.
You put me off. buymeacoffee.com/Me the Wife.
There you go. Yeah, that one, not the first one she said. So a big thank you to David Williams, who supported the show this week. It is much appreciated. A quick fantasy EFL update, I think. I've been doing quite well recently.
Not in the top 3 though, are you?
I'm not in the top 3. I tell you who else isn't in the top 3 though. Christian, he's not in the top 3. So first in the Me the Wife from Wrexham AFC fantasy EFL is Kent Gulliford. Second is new entry in the top 3. Ian Dougal. And third is Owen Roberts. Christian is still slightly ahead of me. But my back went twinged a bit then, laughing. Stop. This needs to be less funny.
All right.
Okay, just
giving the people what they want.
Serious. Anyway, look, let's talk about Mansfield. As I said, I wasn't there. And there's something very strange about sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon, watching a game at the racecourse, knowing you have everything in place to be there, but you just are not. And watching it on TV is bizarre. Felt like we're back in COVID times, sort of sitting there on my own on the sofa watching a game. It was odd, really, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I saw you on the telly, and I was like, oh, there she is, left me on my own.
Oh, shut up.
No, it was weird. I didn't like it. It's not something I'd want to do regularly. I can't imagine now not having a season ticket and having to do that week in, week out. not being able
to get a ticket.
Yeah, not being able to get a ticket. Having to sit at home and watch the games, or whatever.
It's just down the road.
Yeah. And it was tough, to be honest. I wasn't a fan of it, like I say, but there we go. Look, it was Phil's 150th league game in charge. He has been in charge of more games, but I think they
170 odd, I think.
Yeah, you got friendlies in there, cup games, 150th league game. It feels like that's flown by, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like more, actually.
Do you think?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know, really. I suppose it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it sort of feels like it was just yesterday when he arrived and this whole sort of roller coaster started, but at the same time, it does sort of feel like he's been there forever.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, but yeah, it
was also Arthur Okonkwo's 50th appearance.
It was
for Wrexham, which that to me sounds bizarre.
That sounds bonkers
because he's like literally he came in at the end, midway through last season. It doesn't feel like he's been and played 50 games.
I think keepers rack up appearances quite quickly because you tend to, when you've got a keeper,
they're there all the time.
They're there every game usually, unless there's a dip in form or an injury or whatever. Keepers tend to rack up games quite quickly. Quickly. We both predicted the starting 11 correctly.
Yes.
You were really chuffed that you'd got the starting 11
right.
right.
Because I swapped Owen O'Connell out with Dan Scarr.
Yes.
Because I just had a feeling after the Harrogate game, I thought Parky's going to
swap it back. Yeah. You were really chuffed, and then you were at the game and said, I got my starting 11 right. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're cool. I checked mine. I got it right. So I sent you a text while you were at the game with a picture that I'd got the 11 right. Didn't get a reply. Just so you know.
I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know. Were you a bit fuming that I got it right as well?
A little bit, because you said, "Oh, I don't remember doing it." It was like,
I don't remember doing it, but I got it right. So there we go. Anyway.
So talking of Scarr and O'Connell, do you think now O'Connell is going to be put on the back seat over Dan Scarr? I think Dan Scarr's going to be in the starting 11 constantly. We've had discussions about this before, but I think it's quite, I think it's more important to speak about it now because it seems to be happening more and more.
It sort of feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's quite difficult because I really like Owen, and I think he's very good. I think I don't know. Owen's at his best when he plays in the middle of the three.
Yep, but the Dan Scarr.
And we've seen Owen play on the left and the right of the three. Maybe just the right of the three, actually. But when he's got to play his passes a little bit more angled, he seems to struggle with playing out from the back a little bit. So he's more suited to playing in the middle where he can see everything, in front of him. And I don't know, I'm skirting around it because I don't really know, if I'm honest.
Say that then, if you don't know, you don't know.
All right.
You do you, Ryan.
I think it's difficult because Scarr's definitely more no nonsense. If a ball's coming into the box and you've got a defender one-on-one with a striker, I would back Dan to win that in the air more than I would back Owen to win it in the air, I think.
I concur.
Okay. But obviously that's not just what you want from a centre-half, is it? And I think... Sorry, I'm just going to have to switch a little bit. Sorry, everybody. Just, so I don't know. I think they do bring slightly different things to the starting 11. If it was me, I'd probably stick with Dan at the moment because I think I every game I've watched where he's played the full 90, I've been impressed.
Yeah.
I am impressed with Owen when he plays, but he does have a mistake or two in him sometimes. Not major mistakes that lead to goals, just the odd little thing here and there where I think Dan has been more solid in the last 4 or 5 games in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think I'd probably stick with Dan, if I'm honest.
Yeah, as much as it pains me, because I like Owen as well, but yeah, I think.
Look, these are all nice problems to have.
They are nice, but it's a nice problem for us Wrexham fans, but maybe not so much for the players that are involved.
No, but I think when you bring players in, you very much. This has got to be explained to them that you've got to fight for your place in this team.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're not given game time, then how are you meant to fight for your place?
Well, you've got to show something outside of game time, haven't you? And because that's got to be explained. We'll move on to another player now, which falls very much in this conversation. No place in the matchday squad again for Seb Ravon. And you would have to assume that this was very much discussed with him when he signed. That, look, you're not going to play every week. You've got to fight for that place, and you've got to show that you're deserving of that place. He played against Harrogate.
He did.
I don't think he showed enough to go, right, okay, this is why this guy needs to be playing week in and week out. The game that I thought he was superb in was the Bolton game.
Yeah.
He started in the Bolton game. Yeah. I thought he was fantastic. And I think everyone was sort of looking around and having conversations going, this lad's going to be in.
And then it sort of nosedived.
It tailed off, and he's sort of been on the fringes ever since. But when I think Parky's very big on I will give you an opportunity. When you get it, you need to grab it with both hands, and you need to show us why you should be in that team. And I'm not sure he's done that. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure he has done that. I don't suppose it really helps that your captain plays at left wing back in your position. That makes the situation slightly more complex for me. Look, Jimmy's going to get a ban at some point. We know he is.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. I think since he's been captain, he has reined it in quite a bit.
He has.
He's sort of like leading by example-ish, because he did get a yellow card at the game.
Yeah, look, his temperament is always going to give him, and his...
passion.
Yeah, but also I think his who he is might serve as a bit of a... It is unfair, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. When you've got players who like, going in strong, and they've got a bit of a reputation for being a certain way, I think they're going to pick up yellow cards a lot easier than other players. Not just Jimmy, there's loads of players. Dobbo's might be another one. Yeah, but yeah, I think more in the 90s, early 2000s, you had lots of players who were sort of hard nuts, who picked up yellow cards really easily and maybe not always warranted. And I think Jimmy might fall into that category. As the game's got
worse over the years and the rules have changed. Can I just say that at the game on Saturday, the Mansfield game, there was a lady lines person.
Yeah, it's quite... I did want to touch on this because... Are you surprised? Because there's not many female referees in the game.
No.
Is that a surprise, or do you think
it's a good thing
that there isn't many?
No, I mean there was one at the game on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think I am quite surprised that there isn't more female officials. If I'm honest, I don't know if. I don't know if the female officials... I mean, this is a little bit of ignorance on my part, I think, because I don't really know. But I don't know if the female officials gravitate more towards women's football. I don't know if that's the case, because... Or whether
they're pulled towards women's football because they are women.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. But yeah, I did notice on a couple of occasions... McLean, for example, likes giving a bit of grief to the ref and to the assistant referee, and I did notice he got flagged offside at one point, and he turned and he didn't say anything.
I think he did say something, but I don't. I think it was
seemed quite reserved.
Yeah,
though.
I think it was quite reined in. I don't think there was any effing or jeffing or anything like that he would usually do. But yeah, he was very polite and respectful. I think, which good on him.
Yeah, but I've always had an issue with this because the issue I've always had is I think referees and referees' assistants get way too much abuse. And I think from players, because we're not stupid. We don't hear what is said, but you see the way that players talk to referees and assistant referees and fourth officials and all that sort of stuff. And for me, I'd like to see that reined in a little bit because there was always talk of the ref having a microphone and, cutting out sort of like foul and abusive language towards officials, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I think that should be across the board and not just... But, yeah, I would like to see more women referees, if I'm honest.
There was a guy, right, your dad will back me up on this. There was a guy sitting in front of us, right? He had his phone out and he was basically I don't know what he was doing, but he was basically filming and then taking pictures of the female lines person. Oh. It was very creepy. He was like zooming in. I wish I'd taken a picture of it now.
Well,
but he was like
glad you didn't.
He was like zooming in and it was very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Okay.
It was like, and then sending it to somebody. Maybe it was just completely innocent going...
We've got a woman.
We've got a woman. Yeah, this is an unusual thing because I don't think he was British.
Okay.
Or Welsh or whatever, so yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on from that weirdo. I don't know, you might be able to answer this a little bit better, that because I obviously wasn't there, but the pitch looked a bit ropey in places.
It did. They had at half-time, before the game obviously, but at half-time they had the sprinklers on. Don't think they needed the sprinklers because I think it made the pitch a bit more... I think it made it a bit worse.
Yeah.
And especially in the places where it was ropey,
it
made it even worse. There was a lot of slipping going on. And
sort of our side, where we sit, in front of there, looked particularly bad. And so, I was just interested, really, of seeing... Obviously, we're coming into winter. The pitch is going to struggle and stuff like that, so...
But don't we have like under grass heating or something like that?
I think we do have undersoil heat. I don't know. I think we have undersoil heating. I'm not sure. We have the tents, don't we, and the lamps and stuff. But I'm not 100% sure if we got undersoil. I'm not sure. Look, it was nearly a terrible start to the game. I've been praising sort of Dobson recently for how good his passing was. A horrible pass right across the sort of back line, gave it away. Lucky shot was straight at Arthur, and I was a little bit worried. When that happened, I thought, oh my God, we're going to give a goal away to sort of early bins. Early bins? What's early bins? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Early bins.
Early bins.
Early doors.
Early doors.
Just naming like material things.
Yeah, early walls. Sorry.
Early lawnmower.
Look, Gregory went through for them as well. Now, this was a little bit of bone and contention online. He was sort of through-ish. Dan Scar reached out, gave him a little nudge just to set him off.
Little Dan Scar nudge.
Yeah, he sort of put his hand on him, a little nudge. Gregory went down. I felt like he went down really easily.
Yep.
And there was a few Mansfield fans online that I'd seen that were fuming about it, thought it was definitely a penalty. It's a bit of a weird one in football because you're going to get contact like that. It's hard to police, I think, something like that because, look, on the face of it, he put his hand on him, he pushed him, and he went over. I don't think there was enough in that push to send him over, which was the problem.
Maybe
and
like a little step back, but not like a full-blown fall over.
Well, no, he was pushing his back, wasn't he? He's not going to fall backwards.
Oh, right, sorry.
So it was one of them. It was like a half appeal. A lot of Mansfield fans thought it was a penalty. I didn't personally, and not because I'm taking my Wrexham hat off for a minute. It can't be giving penalties for stuff like that in football because it was just so soft. Lee Gregory's massive as well. There's no way he should be going down under a slight little push like that. But at the same time, you sort of go, well, I can see why the Mansfield fans were a little bit annoyed by that. especially after, after a game when you've just lost, to look back at something like that and you go, yeah, maybe we should have had that. But then Barney made it 1-0.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. First goal of the season.
I'm fuming.
Yeah, I know. We'll come on to that in a second. I thought Barney got it wrong because he had it. Mullen sort of pulled into the middle. There was a perfect little pass into Mullen. Mullen would have been clean through. Barney didn't play it. And my instant reaction was, missed opportunity, because it was literally just a little slide pass into him. And then he hit it.
Yeah.
And it went in. Okay, all is forgiven. The only thing I would say about that is if he wouldn't have scored, that would have been a big problem, because Mullen was through there, and
there would have been carnage.
He should have played that. So you could argue about decision making a little bit, but then you go, but he's hit it from the edge of the box and he scored. So
and that's all that matters.
Why are you fuming?
I'm fuming because when we got to the stadium, the ground, we were waiting in the queue. The queue was absolutely massive. People were, for food, this is. People were they were going so slow. So we thought, right, okay, we'll just go and sit in our seats, because it was about 12:15. So we'll go and sit in our seats, and then I'll nip out. And
I'm just going to stand up just to stretch a little bit while you're talking.
Okay.
I am still listening, I promise.
So there won't be any queue. So me and my mum went down, and oh my God, absolute shower of poop.
Yeah.
That honestly, they need the club have got so much right at the moment. The way things are going, with the new stand proposed and all the developments and all that. But the one fundamental thing that they haven't got right is the fact that they are so slow behind the counter of the thing. They haven't. Everybody wanted chips. They didn't have any chips ready. And I asked for chips, and she said, it's good. I'm not having a go at the people, who work there. It's just something needs to be done. And they were like, oh yeah, there's a bit of a wait for chips. And I was like, well, how what is a bit?
Yeah.
And she went, oh well, that's the queue for people serving, standing. Yeah. And I was like, I said, just forget it.
Yeah.
And then she took an age to get the bloody tea.
Yeah.
Told my mum there was milk in it. Turns out there wasn't any milk in it.
Yeah.
And I said to Laurie when I was going back up the steward, I was like, absolute. I swore.
Yeah.
I said, I am peed off.
Yeah.
Because I missed the bloody goal.
Yeah.
The only goal in the game, and I missed it. I've seen it obviously since, but I was livid, absolutely livid.
Yeah, I get that. I think there's a few issues, isn't there, with sort of serving. I don't really see the food side of things when I go, but I see the beer side of things, and it's a very similar sort of thing. I think the problem is you never really see. There's the odd few bar staff at the racecourse that you see all the time. Most of them, it sort of feels like it's their first day every time that you go.
Yeah.
And I think that is perhaps the issue. The other issue in the Mould Road is we have 3 bars in the Mould Road. They only use 2 of them. I don't know the reason for that. It seems crazy that
there's only one place to get food.
Yes, and it seems crazy that you would have 3 bars. The queues are monumental. I had a bit of an issue with a lad trying to push in the queue a few weeks ago, and so I don't understand it really, but I think when you've got 3 bars there, for example,
utilise them.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason why they're not. So I agree with you. Things.
So I missed the first goal, the first and only goal of the game. So I was a bit gutted, but yeah.
Yeah.
A few of the people that were in there were a bit livid as well.
I mean, the goal was so good. Their keeper had to go off after half an hour. I think he injured his shoulder. I'm not sure.
He was walking off like that. I did see that.
Yeah, he saw that.
He was walking off with his arm kind of against his stomach. So I think he was a bit of pain.
Look, I think Mansfield had a few. We were talking about the Lee Gregory one. Mansfield had a few half penalty shouts during the game.
Yeah.
Always worries me, that one.
Yeah.
Because you sort of think, half penalty shout, nah, don't give it. Half penalty shout, nah, there's nothing in that.
They're going to get one.
At some point, is the ref going to give a soft one? Because
they've been called out so much.
Yeah, because they've been appealing so many times, so it does always worry me.
But we paid the ref, so we wouldn't.
I know, yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Off, yeah.
One text you did send me during the game, you were quite taken by the number 8 mullet and tash, weren't you?
I said to your dad and my mum, I was like, oh my God, I mean, he is literally stepped out of the 70s.
Yeah.
He's got the mullet and the tash. I get that it's Movember,
yeah.
so that would explain away the tash.
But the mullet.
I mean, what is it with the mullet at the moment?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Look, I'm not getting one, so don't worry about that. Look, half time, 1-0 up, 1 shot on target.
Yeah.
1 goal, 44% possession, which is quite decent for us, to be fair, because we did settle very much into a rhythm of, there you go, you have the ball, try and break us down.
Yep, which is what we do quite a lot these days.
It is. As a tactic, it does worry me a little bit sometimes, because I think...
It is quite dangerous.
I sort of feel like a better team would have broke us down on Saturday.
I don't think we can use that against Stockport.
No. Yeah, I know. No, me.
No.
Mullin had the first chance of the second half,
yeah.
and he sort of fluffed his lines a little bit. Everyone keeps saying the goals are going to come. Are you a bit worried that they're not?
I don't know. He's just. I feel like he's lost his mojo. I think he lost it in the hospital when he had his back surgery.
Lee, that I mentioned earlier. He had a little chat with me, but before I was off work.
Was this Lee from work?
Yes, about Paul Mullin.
Yes.
And he asked me the question. He said, "Do you think he's good enough for League One?" And it's a very interesting question that I think a lot of Wrexham fans are too scared to ask, because he's had his most prolific seasons.
Sorry, I just hurt my foot.
In League Two and the National League.
Yeah.
So he hasn't ever really performed at this level. Is he good enough for League One? I don't know. And I think the problem is, until we see that he is, we can't really answer that question, can we? Look, we were going to... I've sort of mentioned it before about, sort of later into the season, we are going to talk about players' ceilings for talent and who has reached their ceiling and all that sort of stuff. So I think, it's a difficult one, but I think Paul's going to have to be in that conversation about when we're talking about that. But look, there are lots of factors involved here as to, he is coming back from surgery. Just because he's playing doesn't mean he's back up to full speed.
Yeah.
Strikers will go through this when they're not scoring. They will sort of feel like it's impossible to score for them. That's the nature of sport. That if you get not a bad run of form, but a run of form where you're not doing what you feel you should be doing, it then gets more and more and more difficult to get back to just doing what you do naturally.
Ways, yeah.
Look, I did write a note while I was watching it going, it just felt like the game was meandering to full time at 0-0. As soon as I wrote that note, Mansfield hit the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely thought that was in. I think it was Lee Gregory smashed one against the bar. And they had another one where the ball came across. There was a header which might have clipped the bar as well, or it looked like it went wide, but I wasn't really sure about that one.
Yeah.
So it sort of burst into life, and it sort of felt like Mansfield were coming back at us a little bit. And that's when I sort of say, I feel like a better type of team might have scored on Saturday.
Okay.
I don't think we were at our best.
No.
But I don't know. I think you could look at it a couple of ways. You can look at it as concerning. We drew against Huddersfield when we didn't play that well. We played okay. Played very well at Charlton, but we couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah.
We've then gone out of the FA Cup playing very poorly.
Yeah.
And now we've sort of played poorly and won. Now, you could go, look, it's a sign of a good team who come away from a game with 3 points, even when they're not at their best. And Phil admitted at the end of the game, we were nowhere near our best on Saturday.
No.
So to come away with 3 points against a team who are in the top sort of 6, 7, to come away with 3 points in that scenario when you don't play well, that's great.
Yeah.
But then you have to worry, well, we do need to be able to turn it on, and we do need to get back to our best. Otherwise, we're going to start getting turned over by anyone who's got half decent striker or anyone who creates half decent chances. So I think that's the one. McLean, he got subbed off after 74. Daddy, come on.
Daddy cool.
Yes. Just before that, he had a great chance, but he dragged his shot wide. And then you're sort of going... But then I go back to the first half as well, because he's not really in form at the moment. I was talking about the Barnett goal, where possibly he should have slid it in for McLean. The thing that worries me about that whole scenario is if Barnett's shot was saved or it was over or wide or whatever, would we be sitting here now asking the question, have some of Mullin's teammates lost a bit of faith to slide him in because he hasn't been performing in the way that he has? Because to me, watching it, it was directly in Barney's eye line. He could see that pass. He's a very good player. He can see that pass, and he chose not to take it. He chose to have a shot. Look, he might have felt that, no, my best chance here is having a shot from the edge, and I back myself to score. Or is it, I don't fancy him to score, so I would rather take a punt from the edge of the box
and see what happens.
That's something that worried me on Saturday.
Maybe.
And I wasn't too sure. Mendy for Lee was an interesting sub. So McLean went into the middle, probably just to solidify the midfield, because I felt like we were
Mendy is a workhorse, though.
He is out on the left.
Yeah.
Palmer header nearly wrapped it up for us as well, but it unfortunately was saved by the keeper, and he put the rebound over. Palmer's dividing opinion massively at the moment. I've seen people going, man of the match. I've seen people going, get him out the team. I've seen people going, why are people saying he's not good enough? He's doing all the really difficult stuff. And then have people going, yeah, he's doing the difficult stuff, but he's not doing the basics very... I don't know. I think the Ollie Palmer conversation is something we will have at some point, because I did want to have it today, but I just think it's too broad a subject to maybe discuss in an episode when we've already been talking for nearly 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
So I think we'll leave that one for that. It finished 1-0.
It did.
Barney got man of the match.
I like this new way of how they're doing it.
How did they do it?
Getting the fans to vote.
Oh, did they?
Yes, that you go. They basically tell you, or you get a notification or whatever, and you can vote. I didn't vote for Ryan Barnett because I thought it was too obvious.
Okay.
I voted for Dobbo.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, I think Dobbo's always a safe bet. I think, look, Barney was all right.
Don't get me wrong, but like I said, it was just too obvious. I knew that people would vote for him. I wanted to put a different name down. I was umming and ahhing over it. I wasn't sure, and I ended up going for Dobbo because I quite like him.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's a strange one. I think in a boring game, which I sort of felt it was.
You have to go for the person who scored the goal.
Sort of, yeah. And
I said to your dad, look, it's going to be Barney. Yeah. I know it's going to be Barney, but like I said, I don't want to be too obvious.
Look, he played well. I'm not saying he didn't deserve man of the match.
No, he did.
I'm just saying in a game with limited chances. We only had 2 shots on target all game. One of them was the goal. The other was the Ollie Palmer header.
Yeah.
I think, when your team's not really firing on all cylinders, it's a boring-ish 1-0. I think it's always going to be the goal scorer who sort of picks up man of the match. I think that's just a natural thing.
Yeah, of course it is.
39% possession for the whole game. Pretty standard for us, really, these days.
I think the less possession that we have, the better. Well, we seem to win or draw. We don't lose, which is good.
Look, it kept us third. We couldn't catch Birmingham or Wycombe, even with a win in the early game.
No.
Birmingham drew. With a very last-minute Northampton equaliser. Wycombe Wycombe won again. It's starting to make our win against Wycombe look very good at the start of the season because they are flying at the moment.
Yeah.
But what it also meant is no one playing on Saturday at 3 p.m. could catch us either. So we were in third. I think it was a very valuable win as well against a team like Mansfield. They were only 1 point behind us before the game. They had a game in hand. So if they won, they'd have gone 2 points ahead of us, still with a game in hand. So it was good to put a bit of daylight between us and them, because even with that game in hand, they can't catch us.
Yes.
So that was very good. We had a comment from Rick O'Brien. I'm going to read it. I'm not particularly happy about it, but he said, another big win today. Barney is amazing. Not being too superstitious, but Ryan cannot return to the Stoke Kairos until Wrexham loses again. You're on your own until then. Take care. Thanks, Rick.
He's joking when he said he's not particularly happy about it.
No, I am coming back. I don't care. There we go. Look, if you do want to get in touch, you can get in touch on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or email us at methe-wrexhamafc@gmail.com. 2 games coming up this week.
Yep, we've got our first game on Tuesday, which is the excuse me, the EFL Trophy game. This is a bit of a nothing game though, isn't it? Because aren't we both through anyway?
Bit of a dead rubber.
Yeah.
I think, we are both through. We're both already qualified for the knockout rounds. Bit of a nothing game. Yeah.
Wasn't it a bit of a nothing game last season?
Possibly,
I
think it was.
For the same team. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, it is.
So as we said, both teams are already qualified for the knockout round. So Tuesday's probably pointless, but it's on Tuesday. It's at Vale Park, so it's obviously away. Kickoff is at 7:45. They've got a capacity of 15,695, and they play in white.
They do. The last game with them with the EFL Trophy last season, like Siân said,
I went to.
We beat them 2-1 at the racecourse on the 7th of November last year.
That was a Tuesday game as well.
Yeah,
they're always Tuesday games.
Usually, yeah. Prediction?
I don't really care, to be honest.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
I'm going to go 7-0. No, I'm not joking. I'm just going to go 2-0. I'm not really that fussed.
I'm going to go 3-1. No reason. I'm not putting too much thought into it. And usually when I don't put too much thought into it, it goes quite well for me. So I'm going to go... What did you go for?
2-0.
I'll go 3-1. 3-1.
So... 2-0. I'll put it into the spreadsheet later.
Yeah.
What's yours?
3-1.
Sorry.
Saturday, return of league action. It's our 15th league game of the season. Saturday, the 16th of November, we're back to 3 p.m. kickoffs.
Ooh.
It's away at Edgeley Park. It's 51 miles away, just under an hour for us. They play in blue, and the nickname is the Hatters. Why are they called the Hatters?
Because isn't like Stockport renowned for hat making?
Well, there you go. See, you're learning, aren't you? All the time. Learning stuff that doesn't relate to football, along with football. Yes, that is true. Last game with them was a 2-1 win at the racecourse. It was the last game of the season. Last season in April, Andy Cannon scored right at the end of the game. Great goal. Loved it. Last game at Edgeley Park was a 5-0 defeat on the 23rd of September last year. It's our biggest defeat in the league for 10 years.
Sorry, I'm just writing the thingies down.
Okay, anyway, it's our biggest defeat in the league for 10 years. We know them well. Obviously, we've played them 7 times in the last 4 seasons. 6 in the league and 1 in the FA Trophy. Obviously, we won that one. We've not won at Edgeley Park since 2012. Just to throw that in there. They finished first in League 2, obviously, last season. 4 points ahead of us. They beat Bolton 5-0 on Saturday, which is not great, is it?
Well, not great for Bolton.
They're currently 12th in League 1. They've won 5, drawn 6, lost 3, and their top scorer is Louis Barry, who scored 10 already this season. He's the league's top scorer as well. Prediction?
My prediction... I don't know. I'm going to go 2-2.
you're gonna. Do you know what? It's like you're in my head sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I was going to go for a draw as well.
Yeah.
But I'm scrap that now because you've gone for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-0 Wrexham.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think last time we played them, we obviously lost 5-0. Mark Howard had a bit of a mare. But Ben Tozer had a bit of a mare as well. Is it Ben Tozer? What's it?
Who's Ben Tozer?
Who's Ben Tozer? Listen, look, we didn't play great. Their striker Alafe, he scored a hat-trick. We haven't been great at Edgeley Park, to be honest. The last few times we've got...
we haven't won there since 2012.
No, I know. And yeah, so obviously we lost 5-0. The season before, we didn't play them because obviously they were in League Two. We were still in the National League. The season before that, we lost 2-1. Now, I'm pretty sure we went 1-0 up in that game. I think Mullins scored, and then they came back and scored 2. So, yeah...
Bit of a scary one then, really, isn't it? All being said.
Weirdly, I saw the Stockport Twitter account, I think. They said, Derby Day this Saturday. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's nothing about this that is a derby. They're an hour away. What makes this a derby?
And we're in Wales and they're in England.
Look, I don't know. I don't. Sorry, my back's killing me now. But I think people have always tried to force some sort of rivalry in this game, where there just isn't a rivalry there at all.
Well, there might be with fans, but
yeah, maybe, but not a derby-esque rivalry at all.
No.
So yeah, I'll go for 1-0 Wrexham. I think
I'm going to stick with 2-2.
Yeah.
I know I always feel bad not giving a Wrexham win, but you just got to be realistic, haven't you?
Yes, sometimes. Well, look, based on the past 2 times that we've been to Edgeley Park, a draw would be a step up.
I hope it's not a 5-0 defeat.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bode well.
I hope it is 5-0, but what?
Yeah. Do you think? How do you sort of feel when we do this and we talk about a team and they have the game they've just played on the Saturday, they've had a stormer? How does that make you feel going into our game? Would you have rather they'd lost, or would you? Because sometimes the reason I ask the question is, if a team that you're about to play has just lost, do they then want to go,
we're having this?
We're going to turn that around. We're not losing 2 in a row.
If they win, they might be a bit cocky and might not be as...
Well, no. If they win, maybe they're flying high and then they're elevated performance. So what I'm saying, win or lose, it could be bad for us. So what do you rather is what I'm asking. Do you rather a team we're about to play have just won, or would you rather a team we're about to play have just lost?
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it both negates something towards us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can do. Yeah,
No, I don't. I'm scared. I was scared about Charlton, to be honest, but we did all right there.
We did really well at
Charlton.
Yeah,
so I think if we bring it like we did at Charlton, I know obviously it was a draw in the end.
Yeah.
But only because of bloody stupid penalty.
Yeah.
I think.
I tell you what I am worried about. Louis Barry's superb. He scored in that 5-0 loss. He's a great player. He is a great player, and it shows with the amount of goals he scored this season. League's top scorer. I think we definitely need to look at keeping him quiet. And I think if we can keep him quiet, then that builds.
I'm assuming Louis Barry's a striker.
I don't think he is really.
Oh.
Not an out and out striker as you would.
Wow.
You call
That's pretty impressive for a non-striker.
So I think keep him quiet. Maybe stick Dobbo on him, rough him up a little bit. 'Cause he's not a big lad. So I think that builds a good. Keeping him quiet builds a good platform for the game for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so There we go. Anyway, quick shout out for Dragon Chat. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. And the other one is on Thursday at 7 p.m. and that is for men. Best thing to do is follow Steve Lloyd on Twitter. His handle is at DragonChat WXMFC. Really important. I found this week, someone would have said to me, do you want a few weeks off work? I'd have jumped at the chance. Mm-hmm. But then when you've got like a back injury and you can't really do anything, it's quite depressing, to be honest, because you're sort of sitting in one spot, staring at the TV or trying to read stuff, or it's mind numbing. Mm-hmm. It's been a tough week. And I think it'll be a tough week to come. Really important Dragon Chat. So if you do want to get on either of them calls, all of the info on how to get them calls are down in the description if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to the show, just head over to YouTube. All the details are there. Or send us a message. Because if you do listen to the podcast, if you read the description, on the podcast, at the bottom it says message the show. So if you do want to get in touch with us, you can just click that button and ask us anything that you want to ask. Stop looking at my iPad, you. It's quiz time. Let's get that moved around so you can't see that. God, this is a nightmare. Oh, sorry. Just get the iPad off the stand just so we can do the quiz so you can't cheat. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think.
Yes. Question 1.
Yes.
Which Mansfield player on Saturday did you notice sporting a mullet and tash combo? Was it Will Evans, Aaron Lewis, or Bailey Cargill?
I don't know what his name is. I just know his number. Read them out again.
Was it Will Evans, Aaron Lewis, or Bailey Cargill?
Aaron Lewis.
It was Aaron Lewis. Yes, well done.
Thanks.
1. Number 2.
1.
We beat Mansfield 1-0 on Saturday. But how many of our games in all competitions this season have ended 1-0? Win or lose?
Oh, no multiple choice?
Well, it's just a number, so...
Oh, 3.
It's 4.
Oh, I was going to say 4!
So I think, let me see if I didn't write them down, but the Mansfield game, the Rotherham game, the Harrogate game, and the Stevenage game, I think, all ended 1-0. 2 wins, 2 defeats. There we go. Number 3. Ryan Barnett got the only goal of the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
But who did he score? Who did he last score against? Was it Stockport, Crewe, Colchester, or Forest Green?
Ooh.
Obviously, it was his first goal of this season, so all of them games are from last season.
Forest Green.
It was Forest Green. It was the volley. Do you remember the volley? Did it win goal of the season?
Possibly.
Maybe it won.
Yeah.
Or it might have been an Andy Cannon goal that won goal
of
the
yeah.
season.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
so many goals.
So many goals. Number 4. We faced Stockport on Saturday. Stockport beat Bolton 5-0 on Saturday just gone. But which high-flying club did they lose 5-0 to on Tuesday? I purposely didn't mention it in
Mansfield, wasn't it?
You going for Mansfield?
High-flying club. Oh, Wickham! It was Wickham.
It was Wickham. Right, let's move on. Question 5. Who did Stockport draw in the FA Cup second round last week? Okay. Was it Barnsley, Brackley, Burnley, or Bromley?
Brackley. Lee, whatever you just said.
Brackley. It was Brackley. Well done. You're keeping up a decent run here. You got 4 out of 5 there. That's decent.
Thanks.
Not a problem. Shake hands.
Nice business with you.
Yeah. Look, thanks for joining us. I think a bit of an apology, really, that we obviously like doing our score predictions sort of prior to games.
Yeah.
We like doing our sort of pre-game live on YouTube. We like doing our sort of full-time review live on YouTube as well. And because I haven't been able to move very well, we haven't been able to do that.
I did do the predictions on Saturday.
I know, on your own, I did see. Yeah, but so I fingers crossed. Moving forward, as of maybe Stockport, we will get back to doing lives, I think. And fingers crossed, when we're back at home, we'll do a proper sort of like pre-game and a full-time show. But yeah, I've missed it, to be honest. I miss talking to people and having their opinions and all that sort of stuff. I have missed it.
I literally cannot do it on my own.
No,
I can't. I need my little sidekick.
Little?
Right, big sidekick then, whatever.
Look, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you again next week.
Have a good week.
Bye.